Ramanano brovara, Ramanano brovara, Ramanano brovara, Ramanano brovara, Ramani samanamavaru, Ramani samanamavaru, Shri Ramudu maku tandri Sitamma Mayamma, Shri Ramudu maku tandri Sitamma Mayamma, Lavanya Rama Kanulara Chudare Adi Lavanya Rama Mamava Raghurama Marakata Manishama Mamava Raghurama Vandanamu Raghunandana Setu Bandhana Bhakta Chandana Rama Vandanamu Raghunandana Adamode Galade Ramaya Mataladamode Galade Ramaya Mataladamode Galade Ramaya Rama Banturiti Kolu Vijavaya Rama Banturiti Kolu Vijavaya Rama Banturiti Kolu Raghupate Broche Varevare Ninu Vina Broche Varevare Shri Ramana Runa Broche Varevare Nanno Kani Brova Bharama Raghurama Bhuvanamilla Nivai Nanno Kani Brova Bharama Raghurama Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Very happy to join all of you again on yet another beautiful musical Gita Anubhava. We began with a few very popular numbers, all Raama Bhakthi devotional songs, all penned by the saint composer Sadguru Thyagaraja Swami. I began with that today because I wanted to bring back to our minds something that we all popularly know about the composer Thyagaraja, which is his immense, unbounded, unconditional affection for his Ramachandra Murti. This comes out in many, many songs of his. But what I want to highlight today is that to Thyagaraja Swami, Rama wasn't just one incarnation of Vishnu, and he never thought of Rama as his exclusive deity to the point where he would exclude worshipping others. My point is illustrated better through the compositions of Thyagaraja Swami himself. In Kriti in Bhairavi, he says, Nivanti Deivamu ne kana Nirajaksha Sri Ramayya, which means, I don't see another god like you, O lotus-eyed Rama. This fits in with our regular image of Thyagaraja Swami as a Raama Bhakta. But the interesting fact is when he uses almost the same line with a few words changed to address Lord Shiva, where he says, E Vasudha Nivanti Devamu Nendu Kanara. On this earth, where do I see another god like you, O Kovur Sundareshwara or Lord Shiva? And if you think he stopped with Lord Shiva, he's written another song on Lord Subramanya in Todi, where he says, Nivanti Devamu Shadanana Nenu Yendu Kanara. O six-faced one, where do I see another god like you? And note that it's not just the message, that's that rhetorical question that's the same for Rama, Shiva and Subramanya, even the vocabulary he uses. He says, Nivanti Devamu Ne Kana for Rama, Nivanti Devamu Nendu Kanara for Shiva, Nivanti Devamu Nenu Yendu Kanara for Subramanya. So, the message behind this isn't that Thyagaraja Swami was switching between gods. He was not a fickle-minded person. The import of this oneness is that, though he often preferred to view the divine as Rama, he was not opposed to viewing the divine as any other deity or in any other form. Sometimes he was inspired to view the divine as Shiva, sometimes as Devi. In two compositions in Todi and Supradipam, we see him extolling the divine as Subramanya, or sometimes as Ganesha in the very popular compositions Shri Ganapatini Sevim Parare in Saurashtram or Giriraja Sutta in Bangala, or sometimes even as the Nirguna divine, the attributeless form, or sometimes as the sacred primordial sound that we call Nada. And he never shied away from expressing any of these just to retain his image of Raama Bhakta, because he saw all of these as one and the same. But all this being said, how we identify Thyagaraja Swami as a Raama Bhakta primarily, when I saw his compositions a little deeper, to me it personally felt like he shared a special connect, almost rivaling that of his connect with Rama, with Lord Shiva as well. And this is the theme that we'll be exploring throughout the series, about how the birth of Thyagaraja Swami, his naming, the location where he lived his life, and the events that unfolded in it, and all these have been encapsulated in his compositions, how all of these show his divine and unique connection with Lord Shiva is what we'll be exploring in the series. And what better time to begin this Shivanubhavam than on Shivarathiri, which happens to be today. So on this sacred festival of Shivarathiri, Shiva in many shrines across the world is celebrated and prayed to very specially. And as many of you might know, Thiruvayaru is called a very divine and special Shiva Kshetram. Here Shiva is called Panchanadishwara, and this also happens to be the Kshetram where the composer Thyagaraja spent much of his life and attained Samadhi. And so on this day of Shivaratri, there is a special festival ritual that's conducted here. We all know of the Thyagaraja-aaptha that falls on Pushya Bahula Panchami, which just happened in January. This is when many musicians go and sing the Pancharatnams there, and many people join in to pay their homage to this great composer. But what many of us might not know is that on Shivaratri as well, there is a special festival conducted here, wherein songs of Thyagaraja Swami are sung before his Samadhi for 24 hours straight as a homage to this saint composer. And parallelly, because it's Shivaratri, there is also rituals and pujas conducted to Panchanadishwara, the form of Shiva, in the temple as well. So again, the simultaneous reverence to both Shiva and Thyagaraja shows their special connect on this day of Shivaratri. So I don't think there's a better time to start our exploration of Thyagaraja's Shivanubhavam, which we'll be beginning today and will be seen throughout the series. To begin with, the Valajapet manuscripts written by Thyagaraja Swami's direct disciples, Venkataramana Bhagavatar and Krishna Swami Bhagavatar, give us a lot of details about Thyagaraja Swami's life and his compositions as well. In this, it is said that after having two children, the parents of Thyagaraja Swami were expecting a third child, and this is when Thyagesha, which is the manifestation of Lord Shiva enshrined in Thiruvayaru, appeared in their dream and said that they will beget a third child who will be specially blessed by him, Lord Shiva himself. And so when the third child was born, they named the child after Thyagesha, the Lord Shiva in Thiruvayaru, and so the child came to be named Tyaga Brahmam, or who we know as Thyagaraja Swami, the Vagyekara today. So Thyagesha blessed the child, saying that he will achieve great fame and greatness and glory in this earth. And that is what we see as his immense contribution to the world of Carnatic music as we know it today. And the fact that the composer, the Vagyekara Thyagaraja, was a prasadam of the Lord Thyagesha of Thiruvayaru is seen in the fact that in many of his compositions, he uses that Mudra, that title Thyagaraja, sometimes to mean himself and sometimes to mean Lord Shiva. He uses them interchangeably. For example, in Bilahari, in the Kriti Dorakuna Etuvanti Seva, he says, Rama Brahma Tanayudau Thyagarajuta Paduchuru, which means the son of Rama Brahmam sings these songs and is named Thyagaraja. So here he is addressing himself and his father, who is named Rama Brahmam. But if we see some other songs like Maryada Gadaya and Bhairavam, he says, Dhanada Sakudu Thyagaraja, the friend of Kubera. And this is a very popular epithet of Lord Shiva, so he's meaning Shiva here. And even in Madhyamavati, in Muchchata Brahmadulaku, Dorakuna, he says, Korkela Nosogu Thyagaraja Tananuchunu. saying that I am the Thyagaraja who fulfills desires, Shiva is coming in procession along the streets of Thiruvayaru. So here again, he uses the word Thyagaraja to mean Lord Shiva. So this shows us how much of a prasadam he is, blessed by Tyagesha Peruman of Thiruvayaru himself. The beauty of the birth of Thyagaraja Swami extends further to the fact that he was born in one Shiva Kshetram, namely Thiruvayaru, and he lived and attained Samadhi in another Shiva Kshetram, namely Thiruvayaru. And these two Kshetrams occupy an extremely sacred and revered position in the canon of Shaivism, especially in Tamil Nadu, because these two Kshetrams are uniquely associated with the Thevaram Moovar, who are the three foremost of the 63 Nayanmar saints in the Shaivite canon. And the reason for that is, Thiruvayaru is the place where Appar or Thirunavukarasar and Jnana Sambandar first met one old man and one almost an infant, a young child of barely the age of 7 or 8. They met in Thiruvayaru, and these are two of the three Nayanmar saints that we revere as Thevaram Moovar. And the third, namely Sundaramurti Nayanar, is very specially associated through many of his tales, and he lived a large chunk of his life in Thiruvarur praying to Tyagesha. So putting together Thiruvarur and Thiruvayaru, we get a special connection to the Thevaram Moovar, the most revered Shaivite saints in among the Nayanmars. And these two Kshetrams happen to be a comprehensive list of where Thyagaraja Swami was born and lived a major part of his life and attained Samadhi in Thiruvayaru as well. So another beautiful link to Tyagesha or Lord Shiva. I'd like to conclude today's introduction into this vast ocean of the link between Thyagaraja and Shiva by mentioning another very beautiful, profound link between them that we often miss. It is said that Thyagaraja Swami, the composer, who has contributed so immensely to the world of Carnatic music, was able to do so because he was inspired by the musical secrets, the Sangeeta Marmam, that was elucidated to him by a compendium called the Swaraarnava. This musical treatise, Swaraarnava, is said to have been blessed by Mahamuni Narada himself to Thyagaraja, and Thyagaraja Swami was able to glean the secrets of music from it, and that's why we see so many raga inventions by him and so many pioneering musical ideas that have shaped the world of Carnatic music as we know it today. This text Swaraarnava is not available to us anymore, but it is said to be this text that inspired Thyagaraja Swami to give us such immense contributions to Carnatic music. And the beauty of the link with Shiva is mentioned by Thyagaraja Swami himself in one of his very popular compositions, in fact. But this particular line gets missed when we sing this composition in Kacheris, because this appears in the fourth charanam of the song. And because the charanams are tuned similarly, we often sing the first one and miss out the rest of the lyrics. But today I'd like to sing the fourth charanam of the very popular composition Swararaga Sudha, where he talks about his relationship with Lord Shiva. So before we conclude with this composition, I'd like to just read out the translation of the composition that I'm about to sing, and then we'll conclude with the song. Here, Thyagaraja Swami says, I, Thyagaraja the composer, have successfully learned the secrets of the musical treatise Swaraarnava, which the Lord Shiva revealed to Parvati. Thus, O mind, have faith in me and take it from me that Swararaga Sudhara Sayuta Bhakti, the amalgamation of nectarine notes and ragas with devotion, is Swarga Apavargamura, indeed heaven and liberation. So he says that the Swaraarnava that inspired him so immensely, as we believe, was initially revealed by Lord Shiva to Parvati. So in an indirect way, it's almost as if Lord Shiva was the kindler or the inspirer for the immense contributions of Thyagaraja to Carnatic music. So it comes as no surprise that they have such a divine and profound connection. So we'll conclude with Thyagaraja Swami's beautiful composition, very aptly in the ragam Shankara Abharanam. And I hope all of you join me again in the coming episodes as we explore Thyagaraja's immense, profound and divine connect with Lord Shiva through different facets. And at the very beginning, I would like to pay my humble namaskarams to Thyagaraja Swami and Lord Shankara, and hope that they will bless me to carry out this mammoth task and will excuse me and pardon me for any shortcomings of mine, and I hope all of you will as well. So we'll conclude with this beautiful Shankara Varanam Kriti. tadari na 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 tadara na 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 Rajat Girishudo Nagajakotelupo Swaraarnava marmamulu Rajat Girishudo Nagajakotelpu Swaraarnava marmamulu Vijayamugala Thyagaraja-aaptha Vishwasinchitelu soko Vijayamugala Thyagaraja-aaptha Vishwasinchitelu soko Manasa Swararaga Sudharasayuta Bhakti Swargapavargamura Manasa Swararaga Sudharasayuta Bhakti Swargapavargamura